as much as we possibly can. I promise you that. I mean, we have several support groups. Jack and Shelley handle that, and we have a lot of counseling for our guys. And anything that happens, we put them in counseling. I think that we're just as good as anyone else, everywhere else I've been, and we offer it to our guys. So, not nowadays. When we grew up, probably, but nowadays it's okay. It's accepted, and I don't think so.
We're drilled into our head that we represent the university. Everything we do is we're like the face of the university, so you can't be yourself, basically. It's kind of what you feel like sometimes. Okay, yeah, mental health was a really big deal for me growing up. As gymnasts, especially at the gym I went to, we were always taught to suppress our emotions. We weren't even allowed to talk to each other while during practice, and we practiced 6 to 7 hours every day, Monday through Saturday. So it was a lot of suppressing of our emotions, and never really giving ourselves self-checks, emotional checks of how we're feeling. So anytime something would come up, coach would be yelling at me and making me feel bad about myself, I just had to keep a straight face and not cry, because we would get in trouble for crying or talking or breathing, basically. It was definitely anxiety, all three of those things actually: anxiety, depression, eating disorders. It was tough, just talking about it, because being used to suppressing those emotions, I had to learn how to be comfortable talking about it, and seeking help for it if I wanted to help myself. So I was really thankful to come and have the team be so welcoming to me, and even the coaches, all the staff were so supportive of me coming here and getting to know everyone as fast as I could, and it was really just such a smooth transition. The coaches were pretty verbally abusive, and they broke a lot of the NCAA rules of how many hours we're allowed to train a week, and they would keep us late a lot and assign ridiculous amounts of community service hours during our only free time we got, and just always making us come in last minute for these random meetings that weren't planned or on our schedule for the week and stuff like that. So that was just really taxing as a freshman, and I think a lot of the other girls that even weren't a freshman were really annoyed by it too, and stressed out by that. It was all just negative, and just kept bashing. So there was a lot of body shaming. It was really sad to see that it carried on through college, especially as a freshman. I was ready to get out of that kind of environment into this, what people would tell me was so much more positive and exciting, but I was the only one from my gym that went to Penn State, so no one told me how those coaches were. But it was sad to see that it carried on throughout college, and yeah, it was tough, and I think it's affected me definitely now. Just trying to understand my emotions more is a lot more complicated than some people, for other people. After I left Penn State, I came to LSU, and the coaches here are great. They wanted to know everything that was up with me, and they recommended that I see the sports psychologist here. And so I did. I saw the sports psychologist for almost my entire sophomore year, and I met with the sports psychologist 2 to 3 times a week, and that was really helpful for me in terms of getting over that hump that I was the only hump that I knew, I guess, I grew up with. I think right now we're on the rise to turning that stigma around. Everything is a process, everything takes time, evolution takes a long time. And I think it's great to see that there is a turning point starting, but I think it's 50-50 right now, because there are some people I know that are in denial about their mental health, and some people that want to be open about it and want to seek help for it too. Now, since I've done gymnastics for 20 years, I've done it since I was 2 years old, and being done with it now, it's I'm on the quest to finding out who I am now. So it's very hard. It's really hard whenever that was all I knew and that was all I was known for. I think the change, at least at this university, is already pretty much established with, the coaches being more emotionally comforting to the athletes, and, encouraging us to seek help, even if it's just for like the smallest thing, like a stressful day, a stressful test. Like they just encourage us to talk about it, and if they're not comfortable talking about it, then they encourage us to like talk to the sports psychologist about it. But I know other universities, we're not all on the same level, so everyone has it at a certain level. But I do still think it's on the rise though. So I think Penn State it felt like a business. Like I felt like I was just a part of this formula for their gymnastics team. I didn't feel like, I didn't feel like a human. I felt like I was just like this object that they used to to gain money and to give experience to their university, and just to like showcase us as like things. And they were just like, we don't care like about your feelings or emotions, we just want you to do this, and we want you to do it like this every single time, like no mistakes are allowed, all this stuff. So I think they were lacking a lot of that emotional comfort and empathy. So, but have I forgiven them? Yes, I have. It's forgiven but never forgotten, It's definitely like that.
I definitely think, when you think of most athletes, whether they're at the collegiate level or beyond, they've been playing their sport their entire life. And that's a major part of their identity. And so any form of help seeking, which in their terms may even be seen as a weakness, definitely isn't appealing initially. And so it's why it's important to be able to create sort of places and spaces through areas that they're already familiar with, like within the department, to be able to then offer those services, help them create an idea of what mental health really is versus what we might assume it to be. I think because of sort of that highlighting for the NCAA to take that stand, I think that has created more room for that stigma to be erased, and for people to at least just be curious of like, what is this mental health thing, and how does it fit in with also the physical piece of being an athlete and being strong, and erasing that stigma so that you don't have that fear of like getting the services that you need. I do think in a lot of ways, yes, LSU is the exception. We have 3 people. That is very rare. Usually there's one person, and for a very long time there was one person, and when I took over the role, it was just me for a little bit, and it was my decision to say I need some help. We have almost 500 student athletes, so recognizing that's a lot of people to take care of. But I do feel like there are other universities that maybe haven't yet made it a priority. Why? I'll never know. But I think resources plays a part, but also there are people and places who haven't made the connection that mental health is just as important as physical health.